Hi, I'm Sean Gannon, and this is Minute Math, and today we're learning about simplifying rational expressions.
Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math.
We're given this problem right here, negative 36x to the third power over 42x squared. We want to simplify this. Well, first thing I notice is that the numerator is, I can pull out a 6 as well as an x squared from the numerator. And then it's being multiplied by, well, just 6x here. The denominator also, we can pull out a 6x squared as well. What are we left with? Well, a 7. Don't forget the minus sign. So notice the numerator now, instead of 36x to the third power, I have 6x squared times 6x. The denominator, same thing. We pulled out a 6x squared and a 6x squared times 7. Notice the 6x squareds now cancel, leaving me with, well, a negative 6x in the numerator and a 7 in the denominator, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 16r squared divided by 16r to the third power. And we want to simplify this. Well, first thing I'm looking at here is what can I pull out that's in common in both of them. Both of them have a 16, and both of them have, well, at least two r's, so r squared. So if I pull that out from the numerator, I'm left with just, well, 1, right? The denominator, I can pull out a 16r squared, and I'm left with, well, r. So now let's look at this again. 16r squared times 1 is 16r squared. 16r squared times r is 16r to the third power. Now, 16r squares are eliminated, leaving me with 1 over r, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 16p squared over 28p, and we want to solve or simplify this expression. Not solve, simplify. Well, we're going to see if we can pull out a common factor here. 4 is both the numerator and the denominator, and so is a p. So if I pull out a 4p from the numerator, I'm left with, well, 4p, right? 4p times 4p is 16p squared. Pull out a 4p from the denominator, and I'm left with, well, 7. 4p times 7 is 28p. Now notice, we have a 4p and a 4p right here. They eliminate each other, we're going to cancel each other out, and we're left with just, well, the numerator being 4p over the denominator, which is 7, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 32n squared over 24n, and we want to simplify this expression. First thing I'm going to do is, well, I noticed the numerator and denominator, 32 and 24, 8 is in both of them. So I'm going to pull out an 8. And then n is also in the numerator and the denominator. So if I pull out an 8n from the numerator, I'm left with just, well, 32 divided by 8 is 4, and we have 4n there. So 8n times 4n is 32n squared. Same thing with the denominator. I can pull out an 8n here. And what am I left over with? Well, 8n times 3 is 24n. So now we've simplified this a little bit, kind of broken apart. Our numerator and denominator both share 8n, meaning we can eliminate them right there. So now we bring down the rest, and our final answer is right here, 4n over 3. We're given this problem right here, negative 70n squared over 28n, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, I'm looking for a common factor in both the numerator and denominator here. I notice, well, we still have the negative there, okay? The numerator, I can pull out a 14, goes into 70, and 14 also goes into 28. N is in the numerator, and the n squared, and n is also in the denominator. So what are we left over in the numerator? Well, if we pull out a 14n, we're left with a 5n. 14n times 5n is 70n squared. The denominator, we just have a 2 now. 14n times 2 is at 28n. So now, we see 14n and 14n right here. They cancel each other out, leaving me with just a negative, don't forget it, 5n over 2, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 15n over 30n to the third power, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, let's see if we can pull out a common factor here. The numerator and the denominator both have 15 in it. So I can pull out a 15 from both of them. N is also in the numerator, and the denominator also has an n. So the numerator, we're left with just 1, and the denominator, well, that's a 2n squared, right? 15n times 1 is 15n. 15n times 2n squared is 30n to the third power. Well, now, hopefully you can see the 15n's cancel each other out. That leaves us with a 1 over 2n squared, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 2r minus 4 over r minus 2, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, how can we simplify the numerator? I see I can pull out a 2 here, and I'm left with, well, r minus 2 in the numerator. The denominator is just, well, r minus 2, nothing to simplify. But hopefully you can see this. We have 2 times r minus 2 divided by r minus 2. If you put a little parenthesis around this, maybe it's easier to see, but the r minus 2's will cancel, leaving us with just 2 in the numerator. Don't need to write the denominator anymore, and so our final answer is just 2. We're given this problem right here, 45 over 10a minus 10, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, first thing I'm going to look at here is, well, 45 I know is 5 times 9. So I'm going to put that out here. The denominator, well, I can say I pull out a 10, right? 10a and 10. So I'm going to pull out a 10 here, and I'm left with, well, an a minus a 1. And hopefully you can see some simplification that can happen here. 5 and 10, well, 5 goes into 10, so that's just a 1 now, 2 times, right? So we can cancel each other out, and we just have a 2 down here. So 1 times 9 is 9 in the numerator, 2 stays out there, we have a minus 1, and actually that's our final answer, 9 over 2 times a minus 1. We're given this expression right here, x minus 4 over 3x squared minus 12x, and we need to simplify it. Well, we'll see if we can break anything down. The numerator, nothing to really simplify there. We have an x minus 4. The denominator, though, is that I can pull out a 3x here. 3x goes into both parts, and so what I'm left with is, well, just an x, and then 3x goes into minus 12x 4 times, so minus 4 here. And hopefully you can see something. This x minus 4 can cancel each other out. X minus 4 there. And so what are we left with? Well, we still have a 1 in the numerator, but the denominator is just 3x. And so 1 over 3x is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 15a minus 3 over 24, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, the numerator, let's see if we can pull anything out and simplify it. 15a minus 3. I can pull out a 3 in the numerator, and I'm left with a 5a minus 1 here. The denominator, well, 24. Since I already pulled out a 3, is there a way I can pull out a 3 from 24? And, well, 24 is 3 times 8, right? So now we have 3 times 5a minus 1 over 3 times 8. Hopefully you can see we can cancel these 3's out, leaving us with just 5a minus 1 over 8, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, v minus 5 over v squared minus 10v plus 25, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, the numerator I can't really simplify anymore. We just have a v minus 5. The denominator, though, it seems like I can factor that fairly easily. So we have our form, and we ask, well, what two numbers multiply to be a positive 25, but add to be a negative 10? And that's a minus 5 and a minus 5. Minus 5 times minus 5, positive 25. We add them together, we get negative 10. Well, hopefully now we can see something. We can cancel one of these v minus 5's with the numerator into one of them in the denominator, and now we're left with 1 in the numerator, and then v minus 5 in the denominator. And 1 over v minus 5 is my final answer. We're given this problem right here, x plus 6 over x squared plus 5x minus 6, and we need to simplify this expression. Well, let's see if we can simplify the numerator and the denominator. X plus 6 really is in simplest form. But the denominator looks like I can factor that. We have an x, and we have to find two numbers that multiply to be negative 6, but add to be a positive 5. And that's going to be, well, a minus 1 and a positive 6. Negative 1 times 6 is a negative 6. Negative 1 plus 6, positive 5. So notice the x plus 6 here, and the same thing as in the numerator. Because of that, and it's being multiplied, they can cancel each other out, leaving us with 1 over the x minus 1, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 27 over 27x plus 18, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, let's see if we can break down 27. I know 27 is 9 times 3. What about the denominator? Can we break that down? Can we plot a common factor? Well, 9 goes into 27 and 18, leaving me with, well, 3x. Oops. Wrote x first. 3x plus 2. So notice 9 times 3x is 27x, 9 times 2 is 18. And of course this was by design. The 9's cancel right here, leaving us with just a 3 over 3x plus 2. We're given this problem right here, v squared minus 7v minus 30 all over v squared minus 5v minus 24, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, the numerator looks like it can be factored. So we have our form right here, and we ask ourselves, what two numbers multiply to be negative 30 but add to be negative 7? And that's a minus 10 and a plus 3. 3 times negative 10, negative 30. Negative 10 plus 3, negative 7. Same thing with the denominator. This one can factor. So we have our form here, v and v. What two numbers multiply to be negative 24 but add to be negative 5? And that's a minus 8 and plus a 3. Negative 8 times 3, negative 24. We add the 2, we get negative 5. Hopefully you can see now the v plus 3's cancel. That leaves us here with a v minus 10 in the numerator over v minus 8 in the denominator, and so v minus 10 over v minus 8 is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, x squared plus 8x plus 12 over x squared plus 3x minus 18, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, the numerator looks like it can be factored fairly easily. We have our form. We have to ask ourselves, what two numbers multiply to be 12, but add to be 8? Those two numbers are 2 and 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 plus 6 is 8. But now let's go to the denominator. Can we factor this? Well, we have our form again. What two numbers multiply to be negative 18, but add to be a positive 3? That's a minus 3 and a plus a 6. Minus 3 times 6, negative 18. Minus 3 plus a 6 is a positive 3. So hopefully you can see x plus 6 here is duplicated, meaning we can cancel them out, and we're left with x plus 2 over x minus 3, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, x squared minus 11x plus 18 over x squared plus 2x minus 8, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, luckily for us, the numerator and the denominator look like they can factor easily. So let's go set this up. What two numbers in the numerator, right, multiply to be 18 but add to be a negative 11? And I have a minus 9 and a minus 2. Negative 9 times negative 2, positive 18. But we add the two together and we get negative 11. Now we do the same thing in the denominator. What two numbers multiply to be negative 8 but add to be positive 2? That's plus a 4 and a minus a 2. Negative 2 times 4, negative 8. We add the 2, get a positive 2. Well, hopefully you can see the x minus 2's here can cancel. And that helps us here with factoring, or makes it easy when we factor. So we're left with an x minus 9 in the numerator and x plus 4 in the denominator, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, b squared plus 3b minus 28 over b squared minus 49, and we need to simplify this expression. Well, the numerator looks like it factors fairly easily. So how can we factor this? Well, we ask ourselves what two numbers multiply to be negative 28 but add to be a positive 3. And those numbers are negative 4 and a positive 7. 7 times negative 4 is a negative 28. We add the two, we get a positive 3. Now the denominator, we want to do the same thing. Can we factor it? Well, our b value inside is 0. So we're asking ourselves what two numbers multiply to be negative 49 but add to be a 0. And that's going to be a negative 7 and a positive 7. Negative 7 times positive 7 is a negative 49. Add them together, we get 0. Hopefully now you can see that a b plus 7 here can cancel each other out, leaving us with b minus 4 in the numerator and b minus 7 in the denominator, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, v squared minus 3v minus 40 over v squared minus 11v plus 24, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, let's see if we can factor out the numerator here. It looks like it's pretty easy. So what two numbers multiply to be negative 40 but add to be a negative 3? And that's a positive 5 and a negative 8. Negative 8 times 5 is negative 40. We add the two, we get negative 3. The denominator now looks like it also can factor fairly easily. What two numbers multiply to be positive 24 but add to be a negative 11? And that's a v minus a 3 and v minus an 8. Negative 3 times negative 8, positive 24. We add the two, we get a negative 11. Well, now we see a v minus 8 in the numerator and the denominator. They cancel each other out, leaving us with a v plus 5 in the numerator and a v minus 3 in the denominator, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 4n minus 4 over 6n minus 20, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, there's something that we can pull out here. 4n minus 4 both have a 4 in it. So if I pull a 4 out, I'm left with, well, an n minus 1 in the numerator. Denominator, well, I can see that there's a 2 in 6 and in 20. So if I pull a 2 out, I'm left with, well, 3n minus 10 here. So now I have it kind of simplified, but not all the way. Notice the 4 and the 2. If I take 4 and divide it by 2, I'm left with a 2 in the numerator. Nothing else really we can simplify here, so we break this numerator back down. 2 times n minus 1 over, in the denominator, 3n minus 10, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, v squared minus 5v minus 14 over v squared plus 4v plus 4, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, let's see if we can factor out the numerator. It looks like it can be factored fairly easily. So we have our form set up, and we ask ourselves, what two numbers multiply to be negative 14 but add to be a negative 5? Negative 7 and a positive 2. Negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. We add them together, we get a negative 5. Now let's look at the denominator here. It looks like it can get factored fairly easily as well. What two numbers multiply to be 4 but add to be a positive 4 as well? That's a plus 2 and a plus 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and we add them, and we get 4. Now we see v plus 2 over v plus 2. Well, they cancel each other out. So now we're just left with a v minus 7 in the numerator over v plus 2 in the denominator, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 6v to the third power plus 42v squared over 2v squared plus 26v plus 84, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is, well, the numerator looks like I can pull out a 2. So if I pull out a 2 here, I'm left with 3v to the third power plus 21v squared. A 2 also can be pulled out of the denominator. 2 times, well, we have v squared plus 13v plus 42. So now we've pulled a 2 out of the numerator and the denominator, and hopefully you can see they can cancel each other out. So we're slowly just breaking this down where we can. All right, so now the numerator, I can pull out, well, I see a 3v squared in both parts. So if I pull out a 3v squared, I'm left with, well, just a v plus 7. Denominator, can I factor this at all? Well, we have to ask ourselves, what two numbers multiply to be 42 and add to be 13? And that's a positive 6 and a positive 7. Now we can see the v plus 7 and v plus 7 in the numerator and the denominator can cancel each other out, leaving us with a 3v squared in the numerator over v plus 6 in the denominator, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, x to the third power minus x squared minus 42x over 2x squared minus 20x plus 42, and we need to simplify this. Well, how do we do that? Well, let's go break some things down. The numerator, I know I can pull out an x from all parts. So if I do that, I'm left with x squared minus x minus 42. What about the denominator? A 2 goes into all parts as well. So if I pull out a 2, I'm left with x squared minus 10x plus 21. Okay? All right. So now we have a numerator and denominator. Nothing really cancels each other out right away, but it's in simpler form, and now we can factor. So the numerator. What two numbers multiply to be negative 42, but add to be a negative 1? And that's a positive 6 and a negative 7. Negative 7 times 6 is a negative 42. And we add the 2, we get a negative 1. Now let's go factor the denominator as well. We have our form set up. And what two numbers multiply to be a positive 21, but add to be a negative 10? That's a minus 3 and a minus 7. Hopefully you can see the x minus 7s can cancel each other out. And now we're kind of in simplest form. We have an x times x plus 6 in the numerator over 2 times x minus 3 in the denominator, and that is our final answer. We're given this expression right here, 2v squared plus 10v minus 48 over 8v plus 64, and we want to simplify this expression. The first thing I want to do here is I can see the numerator, I can pull out a 2. So if I pull out a 2, I'm left with a v squared plus 5v minus 24. The denominator, I can also, well, I can pull out an 8. I see that in both parts. So if I pull out an 8, I'm left with a v plus 8 in the denominator. Okay, quick simplification. 2 and 8, we eliminate that, 2, and 8 divided by 2 is a 4. So now let's go break it down even more. Let's look at the numerator. Can it factor? Well, we have our form here, and we ask ourselves, what two numbers multiply to be negative 24, but add to be a positive 5? That's a v minus 3 and a positive 8. 8 times negative 3, negative 24. We add the 2, we get a positive 5. Denominator now, well, just bring it down, nothing to really break down here. We have 4 and then a v plus 8. But now hopefully you can see the v plus 8 can cancel. So that leaves us with the numerator of a v minus 3 over the denominator of 4, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 9x squared plus 81x over x to the third power plus 8x squared minus 9x, and we want to simplify this expression. Well, in the numerator, I see that I can pull out a 9x. There's a 9x in both parts here. So if I pull out a 9x, I'm left with an x plus 9. Now the denominator. An x is in all parts, so let's go pull that out. We pull out an x, and we're left with x squared plus 8x minus 9. All right. Well, quickly, just because we can, I can see these x's cancel right there. Well, there we go. Canceled out. So the numerator, I'm just going to bring down 9 times x plus 9. Nothing else really to simplify there. The denominator, though, I believe can factor fairly easily. I set up my form here, and I asked myself, what two numbers multiply to be negative 9, but add to be a positive 8? That's a negative 1 and a positive 9. Negative 1 times 9 is a negative 9. We add the 2, we get a positive 8. And this is the beauty of factoring. X plus 9's here now cancel each other out, leaving us with a 9 in the numerator over the denominator, which is x minus 1, and that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, x squared plus 2x minus 80 over 2x to the third power minus 24x squared plus 64x. Okay, we want to simplify this. Well, the numerator, it looks like it can factor fairly easily. What two numbers multiply to be negative 80 but add to be positive 2? And that's a positive 10 and a minus 8. Negative 8 times 10 is negative 80. 10 plus negative 8, positive 2. Now time for the denominator. I see a 2 is in all parts as well as an x. So I'm going to pull that out. Pull out a 2x, and what are we left with? We'll have an x squared minus 12x plus 32 here. Okay? Alright. Well, that looks like it also can factor. So I'm going to bring down the numerator, the x plus 10 over x minus 8. I'm going to bring down this 2x, but I'm going to see if I can factor the denominator even more. Again, I ask myself, what two numbers multiply to be a positive 32 but add to be a negative 12? We have a minus 4 and a minus 8. Minus 4 times minus 8 is a positive 32, but we add the two numbers, we get a negative 12. Now hopefully you can see an x minus 8 and x minus 8 can cancel right there. So now we just actually have in the numerator an x plus 10 over the denominator 2x times x minus 4. This can't be simplified anymore, and so that is our final answer. We're given this problem right here, 3r squared minus 39r plus 90 over r squared minus 3r minus 70, and we want to simplify this expression. So in the numerator, I notice there's a 3 that I can pull out in all parts, so let's do that. Pull out a 3, and I have an r squared minus 13r plus 30 left over. Now the denominator, well, can I factor that at all? Let's go factor this. We have our form here, and we ask ourselves, what two numbers multiply to be negative 70 but add to be a negative 3? And that's a positive 7 and a negative 10. 7 times negative 10, negative 70. We add the two, we get a negative 3. Okay, well, we factor the denominator, but the numerator also looks like it can be broken down a little more. So let's go set that up and do that. What two numbers multiply to be positive 30 but add to be a negative 13? And that's a negative 3 and a negative 10. Negative 3 times negative 10 is a positive 30. Negative 3 times negative 10 is a negative 13. We bring down the denominator now, r plus 7 and an r minus 10. Notice the repetition of r minus 10. They can cancel each other out here, and that actually brings us to the end. We bring down the 3 times r minus 3 over the r plus 7, and that is our final answer. I hope this video was helpful for you, and if it was, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and like this video. This helps us make more free math lessons for you and for everyone else. So as always, thanks for watching.
Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math. Minute Math. Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math. MinuteMathTutor.com.